Well, this is one way I want you to view silver more than anything, as the backup to the backup to the backup. Just remember that. It's, people say, well, the price goes down. They say, well, you got a gift, you could buy it cheaper. Don't. The whole idea is you're kind of doing like, it's kind of a smart thing to do anyway. It's not, you shouldn't be a worrywart. You shouldn't like worry that the sky's going to fall every freaking day. You ought to enjoy life. But you ought to have your backup to the backup to the backup. That's what silver is. It's a little more than an investment. It's one of those catastrophic insurance policies in one way. But I know you could say it doesn't work sometimes in some situations, but it's not the only backup that you have. You should invest money in various ways. Like I always said, food is more important, fuel is more important, and firepower is more important than silver, actually, in a catastrophic situation. Yesterday, we had a nice storm here in Florida, and I don't know what the deal is. It's been like, in Florida typically rains and sunny, and sometimes it rains when it's sunny out at the same time. But, the power went out for several hours, and I started up my generator. Just put the key in it, plug in a couple of cords, plug in the refrigerator, the laptop computer, some fans, and, I had the internet running and everything else for several hours. Very surprised that generator, for all the hours of use I got out of that thing. I really don't put any diesel fuel in it. It's ridiculous. It gets incredibly good mileage, whatever the hell you want to call it. The last time I used it, interestingly enough, it was before the Mayan calendar date. The electricity went off the night before. I was thinking, I had second thoughts. I wonder what the hell's going on here. That was one time, and one time after that. And there's been times over the last couple of years, too. Just happens, Florida, big storms, they screw things up. Lightning blows something up. So, you have a backup. That's one thing, but you should have backup food. That's what one of your silver investments is. Actually, today I was working on a computer. I didn't realize I got several computers, and my oldest computer is an XP computer. It didn't come with XP. I just liked XP Pro better. I wound up using that one a lot more. Old school. Actually, I take like the Windows 8 and Windows 7. I put Windows Classic Shell on them. I don't like their interface, the new interface or anything. But, I had a drive, a laptop drive, that was already set, that already had all the software on it, Adobe Pro, freaking, Office Professional, all kinds of editing software. The whole thing was like, in other words, if you get another computer, the biggest problem is you got like 20 hours of putting software on it. This thing was already set. I plugged it in, wham, all booted up. The only thing I got to do put on it is like Firefox or something. But see, that's what I'm talking about. Backup to the backup to the backup. That's what silver is. But you got to have other backups. You got to have other things like that. And a lot of people, they could afford to do this. They piss it away. That's just not how I think. A lot of people have a lifestyle where they got to drive around a Mercedes, which is a nice car, but they got it on lease. They don't own it, and they don't know how to fix it. They got technology around them that they don't know how to fix. They don't know how to do anything on their own. It's been raining here a lot. I did my own roof a couple years ago. I put a couple underlayments under it. Not the Sinfelt type stuff, just regular shingles, but 2 underlayments underneath it. I did my own stuff. It's like something goes wrong, like if a tree branch slammed through my roof. I get out there to saw. I'd be able to. I got the wood right here on the side. I got extra shingles. I could, cut out the wood, fix the wood, put the shingles on it, make a patch. I'd be all set. That's what I'm talking about. Backup to the backup to the backup. So that's what your silver really is. It's at one point in time, it's if people in the middle class get all panicky and they start paying an exorbitant amount. I don't know what that amount is, but I think the big hint as to what that exorbitant amount is the ratio. Like right now, it's over 60 to 1, but I know Bix Weir talks about 1-to-1. I know there's ways you can argue 1-to-1 silver but to gold, but that's going to be your big hint as to when it's getting ahead of itself. When, how much, and I don't think I'd sell all of it ever. I mean, I just sell in steps, but you always got to make your next move very carefully. But you should always have the backup to the backup to the backup. And seeing that, I was also in the accounting and finance area, but I used to take care of a lot of the information. The information. Like, they never really called a network guy or anybody to do anything. I pretty much always did everything and that type of stuff, and it was pretty good sized companies. I mean, not Fortune 500, something like that would be different, but pretty good sized companies, well over 50 million or 100 million. And, I always realized, even with information, it's like you want to have a mirror set of this, a mirror set of that. You want to have it, we used to use tapes, and then they got, DVDs, and they got, the Blu-rays and stuff. But, I always had the backup to the backup to the backup, and that's basically how I think of silver. It's one of your backstops of your financial system, basically, where, if something catastrophic did happen, it's not going to, like I gave the example today, like if there was a nuclear bomb set off in the financial center, oh, shit, I don't want to joke about that, but, the markets would crash like crazy. But, they would never lose the information, as someone pointed out, because that stuff is backed up all over the place. Oh, God, it is. It is. And it's like they would not lose your information, but it would be utter chaos for several days at least. That's the deal. So that's the thing with silver. That's the thing. And I think people will understand that it is money. But before you even mess around with silver, you should have food and fuel, which is, fuel for your body, and firepower, firearms. That is actually more important than silver. It really is. That's more priority. But always think of it as the backup to the backup to the backup, because I always kind of run into situations once in a while, and I notice other people, what they got to do is they got to call somebody up, and it's like, even guys, they act like they can't do anything, You get these professional dorks, they can't do anything. If something happened to their house, you're going to call somebody up. If there's something happened to their electricity, they can't do anything. You got to be self-sufficient. That's number one. So, that's one of your reasons you get silver. It's not like, it'd be nice if you bought every freaking ounce of silver at the absolute best price. Now, I pretty much did that anyway. But, I'm not Karnak the magician, because I can tell you one thing. Somebody's going to be wrong and somebody's going to be right. And actually, I can tell you right now, like, even a lot of the people that were super bears, now they look like they're right because silver went down below 20. Oh, they were super bears when it was going up. And I don't want to name names, but, they were super bears when it was going up in 2010. Oh, it's not good. It's going to pull back before it gets to 30. It'll never go to 40. They kept saying that. They kept saying that, and they were wrong. And there were super bears last summer when it was 26, and people were predicting it was going to go to 18 back then. And guess what? It went up to 35. But now they always say the same message. They always say, oh, it's always going to go down. But there's super bulls. Like, I guess one that comes to mind is BJF. I'm pretty bullish on it. But, I don't know if I'm extreme as he is, but he quite gets out there a little bit. But, I should also state that if the markets are rigged 100%, as I think that one mentioned, well, I don't understand how you could analyze with a chart and predict the market if they're rigged. So what's the point of a chart? It's almost like it ain't going to do you any good, is it? It is. If it really is rigged, and that's the reason you get off and you can't predict correctly with your charts, then, if ergo, that means, if you're saying it's rigged, then the charts ain't going to work, are they? I don't think it's totally rigged, though, the way people think it is. I don't think so. Because actuality, greed kind of gets back into play again, because when it gets down too low, there's a lot of buyers that move in. And I don't know when that point is. Like, 18 is another freaking major resistance point. I don't know if it can go lower. I mean, I don't have it like absolute fact. It can't go lower. But 18 is, we all know, is a major big resistance point. Again, 18, 19 around here. So, and it looks like the hedge funds are buying into gold. But just remember, when you're buying precious metals, it's like a backup to the backup to the backup. It's a little bit more than just a plain old investment. I could be thinking about, I have this generator, and I used it yesterday, and I could be thinking about, what did I pay for that generator, and what could I pay for it now? What's it worth now? No, I freaking used it yesterday. You know what I mean? So when you actually go to act, if something problem happens with the banks, because like in Argentina is like an example, they were like confiscating people's monies in the banks. And what happened in Cyprus, it could come around to the United States someday. That really could. So having your money outside the banking system, or a good part of it, is smart in some ways, because they can't touch it. And having online silver, you never really know what the deal is with that too. When Anne, what's her name, resigned from I can't remember her name now. She resigned from the her brokerage. It's like she's probably telling the truth. A little bit Barnhart, whatever her name was, when she resigned from her brokerage, she was telling the truth about what could possibly happen. Maybe she can't protect her clients' money. Maybe that's what's going to happen at one point in time. Maybe we'll have several MF Globals at once. And I don't think the people in MF Global that were clients really got all their money back like the way they say they did. So, I mean, paper investments may not be so super safe. So that's the only reason I want to put it out there, is that precious metals like silver is your backup to the backup to the backup. That's why it's important. So, it's like your backup information on a computer. Like I had, a computer crap out today. It was like it was one of those Scorpion Black Label X, enterprise drives. I guess they only last so long. Your freaking thing took a dump. I threw in the other. I forgot I even did that, but it was like, put the other drive in there. And it was like, whoa, boots right up. Has all the stuff on it. Has all the software on it. Boy, that saved about 50 hours of work at least. And I'll probably just get another drive and mirror set that one over to a bigger one, and save that one again as the backup. I don't know how long the computer will last, but that's the point though. It's like you want to have backup to the backup to the backup, redundancy, and that is really why you get silver. Do not think of silver like tunnel vision. Food, fuel, and firepower is really what you need before you even mess with silver. But getting some silver here and there is a good idea. And if you can't get any silver, the physical nickels ain't a bad idea. Because I figure, I don't know this for a fact, but you're never going to lose the face value. But, if the commodities go way the hell up, I think they're going to remint those nickels into something else. And they'll put more zinc in them. They won't be 75% copper, 25% nickel. Because if there's like an explosion of inflation, the American physical nickel might be worth still a true nickel. So that might not be a bad bet. If you can't afford to get any silver coins, that's still not a bad bet to do either. So just remember, it's the backup to the backup to the backup. That is really how you want to be viewing this type of investment. It's not a speculative investment in a true sense.